Hey, I'm Hannah, you're watching Enemy, and today we're joined by Madison Beer. Hello.
Hello.
Hi Madison, we're in London. How are you finding it?
I love it. One of my favorite cities in the world.
So we're here today as well to talk about your new single, Dangerous,
Yeah.
Which we love.
Thanks.
What inspired that one?
Oh man, a lot went into that song. We definitely pulled inspo from a lot of my favorite things. It's kind of taken on this, like, I call it like my Disney princess song in a way, but obviously a sad Disney princess song, I guess. But it has a lot of that energy to it, and the strings and whatnot, I feel like give it like a bit of a like regal vibe. But I think I was inspired lyrically to write the song from a place that I hadn't yet. I think, when I write about like a breakup song, I don't even really like calling, selfish or reckless breakup songs, because those to me are just like my experiences of things that have happened. They're not just like about breakups in general. I think if anything, like Boy Shit is more of a breakup song, So anyways, writing Selfish and Reckless, those were my emotional songs about my experience in, my relationships and whatnot. But I still felt that in those songs, there was a bit of like digs at whoever I was writing it about, where like I have a line of "Why are you such a Gemini?" or like "I hope you both go to hell" and things like that, and it's coming from a bit of like a spiteful place. The song's vulnerable, but there are lines that are coming from somewhere that feels angry still. Whereas I think Dangerous, I wanted to write it from the place where I've been, where there is no anger and there's no resentment and there's no regret. It's just truly reflecting and missing and honestly like reminiscing a bit, and then kind of coming to that conclusion of I've been in places before where I feel like I'm just kind of wounded in regards of some of my relationships, but rather than the healed perspective of Selfish and Reckless, where it's a bit like past tense, this is more me looking back on myself in a way, which I guess is why the tag "I make love too dangerous." It's like, when you, I guess, in a situation where you're in multiple relationships, you have to kind of sometimes turn the song around on yourself. And obviously, the song is also a bit tongue-in-cheek, and it's not me actually saying that I think that I'm too dangerous to be loved, because I don't believe that at all. But that's a thought that I've had, and it's a really hard place to come out of, and it's a hard place to heal from. And I'm happy that I have. But this was me wanting to write it from that place where I was still wounded and not very much healed, and questioning, like, am I the common denominator in this story, and do I have to turn the question around on myself truly?
It sounds very personal.
It is.
Clearly.
Definitely the most personal song I've done. It hits me in places that are different than Selfish and Reckless, because again, I feel like that's coming from just a different energy, a different perspective, and this is really vulnerably how I feel about people. I'm a lover. I have no shame in admitting it. I definitely am not the kind of person, even though I have songs like Boy Shit or whatever, I hold love for anyone who I've ever been, especially like romantically linked with, forever. It's just the person that I am. So this admitting that and this song being that has definitely been intense, to say the least, for sure.
Was it difficult to write?
Yeah, it was really difficult, because I had to be really honest with myself, and I'm not always, I guess that's not fair to say. I am actually really good about being honest with myself, but I guess being honest with everyone else in the room and, the public has been intimidating for me. But I felt like ready to bring this new perspective, and I think how well Reckless and Selfish specifically were received by my fans, I feel really safe talking to them in this way and about these things. And yeah, I'm excited to see what they think about it. And I think that people will hopefully understand what I mean by everything I'm saying. Because it sounds a bit like I don't really get it until you listen to it. You will understand. There's nothing in the lyric or in the song that's like, I wish I never met you or dated you. It's all like genuinely, because I feel like we all go through that when we break up with someone. You go through kind of like a grieving period, and there's phases of it all. And you might regret things and have like an eternal sunshine of the spotless mind moment where you're like, I just want to erase them and whatever, and I know that I've been there. But at the end of the day, we all do have those moments where we're like, kind of miss you, and kind of have that, and you start to just feel those emotions. And I think those emotions are just as important to feel and allow yourself to feel as all the other ones. And I talk about breakups a lot. I actually kind of hate that that's something that I talk about a lot, but I do, and I speak to a lot of particularly young women about breakups, and I think that allowing yourself to feel all the stages is really important. And I know that I've in the past tried to force myself into being like, no, I'm going to forget this person or I'm going to just move on. And I don't think that that's human. I think that you're allowed to miss someone and feel ways about them, even if it's years after the fact. I think it, shows that your relationship had depth. And
I guess it's getting to that point when you're like, I just hope you're okay. Even if you're not in my life, I just hope that you're happy.
Totally.
And last time you spoke to Enemy was kind of around release of Life Support, and you said at that point you were already quite far into the work for your next record.
Yeah.
How far in are you now?
I think that probably when I spoke to you guys, we've definitely made multiple albums at this point, I could say. And meaning amount of songs and ideas and concepts and whatnot. I think that we are at a really good place now with it, and we are approaching, the finish line. But I just want to be really delicate and really careful with it. I don't want to rush anything, and that's a common theme for me. And my fans hate me sometimes because they're like, "Can you rush things? Get it out already." But I really care about, especially this project and this music. It's really personal to me, and I don't know. There's topics that I feel like I just want to be really cautious with, and want to make sure I'm ready to write about them and release them and whatnot. And I also really like things to feel like one, conclusive thought from point A to point B, and I want to make sure we have that. And, right now maybe there's a few that fit, but then a few that don't. There's 6 that fit and then 6 that fit together, and I just have to figure out how to blend them in a way. So that's kind of where we're at, but we're definitely approaching a finish line, which is exciting.
Oh, that's exciting. How different is this era of Madison Beer? Is it lyrically different, musically different?
Both, for sure. I wrote Life Support a really long time ago. I was 17, 18 when I started writing it. It was finished around when I was 19, and I'm 23 now. So I have definitely grown a lot. I've changed my perspective on a lot of things. There's a lot of things I've learned that I want to write about. And yeah, I think that I guess Life Support was, it sounds funny because my, I guess first single from the new album is about a breakup in a way, but Life Support was pretty centered around a breakup. A lot of the songs have to do with that thematically, but then there are songs like Effortlessly which have to do with my mental health and my experience and whatnot, but most of it is about that. And I feel like with this next project, I've definitely learned a lot more about myself personally as a human being rather than my experiences I've had with others. So I think you'll find a lot of writing about that, and a lot of writing about topics to do with me and my own experiences and whatnot, not just about other people. Not that that's what Life Support was, but it'll be more personal in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. Did you have any sort of music you were listening to that you were particularly inspired by when creating it?
I mean, I'm always constantly listening to music. I'm never not, but I rewatched a lot of my favorite, I don't ever know how to say this word, biopics, everyone says it differently, but there's probably a right way to say it, I just don't know which one it is. But I rewatched a bunch of my favorite ones of those, and I got pretty inspired by a lot of them. And yeah, I mean, there's just so many artists, so many influences. I can't really pinpoint one, for example, but I would say 60s to 80s music was definitely predominantly what I was listening to and am still listening to during the making of all of this. Whereas I think Life Support was a bit more maybe 90s stuff. I don't know. I can't really remember. It was so long ago now, but yeah, a lot of 60s to 80s music.
Which biopics did you watch?
I love the Queen one. I think that one's incredible. Bohemian Rhapsody is awesome. I recently saw Love and Mercy, the one about the Beach Boys, which is also incredible, and a story that I didn't know at all, which everyone should watch. It's super, super interesting, and an important dark side of the industry that I think people should know about. But the Elton John one, there's so many that are incredible that I feel like I'm naming all British artists right now. Have really inspired me musically and sonically over the years that hopefully people pick up on some of the influences by, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
And kind of when we've spoken before, you discussed how writing Life Support kind of was so important to you because it was a lifeline in quite a difficult time.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why you're so proud of that album. How different was making this album? Did you feel different going into the studio?
Yeah, different in different ways though. I think that like, sorry, I meant to say like the same in different ways. I still was going through a bit of a tough time, and I think that's something that I've learned through making both of these is like I think that like as human beings, we're always going through things. You're never just like, oh, I'm perfect this year, you know. Everyone always has things that they're dealing with, and I think realizing that has also been important for my healing process in general. But yeah, I mean, I definitely was in a better place mentally, I guess, but I was in a different place in my journey of just, you know, like healing and my perspectives on things and reading a lot of mental health books and just like, I really feel like I've gained a lot of insight in the last year specifically about certain things and topics that maybe I hadn't before. And my perspective on a lot of things has been really flipped and specifically, I know I keep saying the word healing, but like that's been a huge topic for me. But I think making life support, I thought, and it did heal me in a lot of ways, but I thought that like that was the only way to heal things. And I think that now with a lot of therapy and a lot of reading, I have learned that healing is it's really just a flipping of perspective in a lot of ways and changing your viewpoint and understanding yourself and understanding other people and, you know, having that empathy and compassion for others who might have hurt you in the past and thinking about, you know, maybe what they were going through at the time. So a lot of that is like the theme of this album. And it's obviously not exactly going to be saying all of that, but that's definitely what I've been going through and what I've been trying to achieve with writing it.
And kind of last time we spoke for your Enemy cover story, we spoke about TikTok and online sort of bullying and how TikTok has kind of brought this new wave of places where you can kind of have people talk to you like that. Have you found over the past year that's kind of got better? Have you been able to separate yourself from social media any better?
I think it's gotten better because I've learned how to set boundaries for myself, and I think that's another huge thing. I know that I sound so preachy all the time talking about like mental health tools, but it's really important, and boundaries are huge. And I think that that's been such a silver lining for me through all of this has been my ability to, I have a time limit on all of my apps. My fans always make fun of me because sometimes I'll go live on Instagram and it'll like pause and they're like, oh, her time limit ran out. But yeah, so I have like time limits on all my apps, and even if I bypass them, just knowing that, okay, that was another 15 minutes, and really being able to log that mentally and knowing, you know, you wasted an hour of your day, you only have 24 of them, you wasted one of them on like doing what? Reading hate about yourself? Like I don't know, I just definitely have created those boundaries for myself, and I don't really let myself get sucked in as I used to. And if I do see something hateful about myself, it's easier said than done. And of course I still have my bad days where I can't look away as easily, but I try to just protect myself and shield myself in the same way. If you were sitting here on your phone reading a bunch of mean comments about yourself, I would literally snatch your phone out of your hand and be like, no. I do that for myself, and I try to be my own best friend in that way, where I'm like, you need to protect yourself, and there's no reason and there's no need. And I think that the hate and stuff and people's opinions on me in general, I guess, have started to affect me a bit less because that's gone also into my process of healing. And loving yourself and creating a strong relationship with yourself is huge, and going to bed at night and knowing the person that I am, knowing my heart is good. I'm like, you can't, I'm like, I feel like I have a force field around me now because I know my heart, you know, and I know what I would and wouldn't do or would and wouldn't say, and I'm not going to let anyone else, especially people who don't know me, dictate that. And like I said, it's easier said than done, but it's huge to be able to prioritize your own happiness and whatnot. And it's a shame because I love social media for the reasons where I get to interact with my fans and I get to speak to them, and that's our outlet. But if it becomes too much for me, they also, luckily I have a really respectful fan base, and they understand that sometimes I just need time off of it. And if they don't hear from me for weeks at a time, they know that I'm just kind of like living my life, and they respect that, and they don't, you know, make me feel pressure to return or whatever. And especially when I go through a hard time, or if there's a viral video of people making fun of me or whatever, I try to avoid social media. And they get that, and I'm lucky to have people who understand that. It's really, really important.
Yeah, those boundaries are really helpful.
Beyond. Yeah. For everyone, like seriously, like it's really, really important to set boundaries for yourself with everything. Like they're huge and they help so much.
a good segue here. You
Yeah.
told me about setting boundaries before. Was last time we spoke, it was about the Baby music video, and you spoke to me about kind of being a young woman. You wanted to reshoot the video because it wasn't right, and you really had to stand up for yourself.
Yep.
You've spoken to Enemy in the past about, you know, going in and being like, no, I am going to be credited as a co-producer because I've co-produced this.
Yeah.
So of course, have you now sort of built a team where you don't have to, you know, you don't have to shout so much to make your voice heard?
Definitely, yeah. I think that I definitely have a lot more support around me for sure. And even if I still do sometimes have to shout to be heard, I am heard, and that's enough, and I'll take that for sure. Whereas sometimes genuinely I would just get shut out and I would just be told no. And, you know, now again, it's like I know what I deserve. I know what I've worked for, what credit, you know, I should be given. And yeah, I think that that's also another topic of just like misogyny in the industry. And I think that women try to get discredited a lot and undermined for their intelligence or their ability to do things, and but the same way men can. And I definitely want to always try to fight for the directing credit or the producing credit or whatever else I did on a video or a tour or whatever, because I think it's important for people to see a woman's name in those titles so that they can know that you indeed can do the same thing. And it's wild to me that that even has to be said, but of course we all know what goes on. So yeah, it's really, really important.
Do you think it's getting any better in the industry at all?
Yeah, I mean, I have to be hopeful. I have to hope that, or else what would I be doing this for? I think that things like that, and I know there's so many other females in the industry, in all industries, other artists that I know that I'm friends with that also do the same, where they fight for those credits and they make sure that they're given the notoriety that they deserve as well. And I do think that makes a change. I really do. So yeah, and I think there's so much badass music out there, especially right now. The topics that people talk about and stuff. I think it's awesome, and I have to hope that it is making a change, and I do believe it is.
Who are those people for you making the music when you're like, oh, that's amazing, I can see them sort of paving the way?
The first person that I think comes to mind is Billie Eilish, just because I think a lot of the topics she touches on in her music are so prolific, and she speaks about things that a lot of other artists I think don't and are maybe afraid to, which is valid because we've all been conditioned to be afraid of speaking about certain things. What her and Phineas have created is really, really incredible, and I really look up to both of them a lot, and I've been a fan of hers and Phineas's from the jump, and they are two people that I am very, very proud to see at the top, because there are some people who aren't the best and who don't stand for the right things, and I think that them as people really do, and it shows itself all the time. Even a song like Your Power, that's a difficult song to write, and I think that the fact that she did that and the fact that she fought for it to come out as one of her singles probably wasn't an easy sell, especially to her label. I'm not speaking from her telling me this, but just my own experiences when I want to write about things like that. It's not easy because a lot of people want to shut you up talking about things like that. So the fact that I'm sure she had to fight for that to come out is awesome. And yeah, I mean, she also directs her own videos and she does things like that. And every time I watch one of her music videos and I see directed by Billie Eilish, I'm like, that's my girl. So she's the first person who comes to mind, and I'm really proud of both of them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And kind of looking to the future now, over summer you've got some massive festival dates coming up, including Reading and Leeds after because of the pandemic didn't happen last year, but this year you get to do it.
Yes.
Obviously, Enemy, love Reading and Leeds. How excited are you? Have you been before?
No, I've never been. I'm really excited. I've heard it's awesome. I hope I fit in. I hope everyone likes it. I'm a bit nervous. I feel like there's a lot of way cooler people than me on the lineup, so I'm like, do I fit in here? But hopefully it'll be fun. I'm excited. I feel like it'll be a good turnout regardless.
Yeah. Have you looked at the lineup at all? Are you into stuff like Arctic Monkeys, Bring Me the Horizon,
yes,
rock
I'm
music?
a huge Arctic Monkeys fan. I will definitely be at their set, so yeah, really excited. There's a lot of people who I'm really excited to see, but I'm just nervous for the festival. I don't know. I feel like doing my first ever show in the UK. It's a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. It's cool. People have been nice about it, I think. But it's a bit of imposter syndrome when you see people on the lineup like that. You're like, do I belong here? But we'll see. Hopefully I do. hopefully it's received well.
Is there anyone on the lineup you would love to sort of like collaborate with, or?
Oh my gosh, off the top of my head, if I looked at it, I could probably tell you, but
It's like Halsey, Megan Thee Stallion, Bring Me, Arctic Monkeys.
well, I genuinely love Arctic Monkeys, but I met Megan Thee Stallion at the Met Gala and I was freaking out. She's incredible and so sweet. So yeah, I mean, there's so many people, honestly, that I would love to work with, and I also would love for those relationships to happen naturally. So I don't know what's coming up. I think just trying to keep on working on music and get this album out and hopefully do more tours. I'm sure I'll be back here often now that everything's kind of, I'll try to come here a lot more because I love it. But just more music, more performances, more videos. I just hope to keep growing and staying true to myself the best that I can, and, you know, never bending on that, because that's really what's important to me. So hopefully just continuing down this path.
Well, thank you, Madison Beer, for your time.
I
really
love the full
appreciate it.
name.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.